Hey, what's going on, everybody? Justin here at Tromful Reads. In this video, we're going to be doing my first ever NetGalley book review. I don't know if I just live under a rock or whatever, but I just found out about NetGalley the other day and signed up for it and stuff. And if you guys don't know what that is, it's a website where you basically just sign up and you can try to get basically digital versions of upcoming books in exchange for reviews and stuff. So it's a pretty cool way just to get some newer books, I guess, as long as you do some reviews and stuff. And since I do reviews anyways, I just wanted to check it out and see if there was any books I liked, and there were quite a few, so I tried to get some, and this is going to be my first one, and it's The Book of the Moon, and this is by a British astronomer named Maggie Aderin-Pocock. And I really enjoyed this one. I've been on the lookout for a really good astronomy book, even though this one doesn't deal with all of cosmology or astronomy. Obviously deals with just the moon. This is definitely my favorite astronomy based book of the year so far for me. And I think it comes out, I think it's already out in the UK. And I think it's scheduled to be released in the United States to coincide with the 50th anniversary of the moon landings in 1969. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, like I said, this was this is definitely my favorite astronomy-based or type book of the year so far. She basically covers the moon in any entire capacity, I guess you could say. For example, it's broken into 4 parts. There's Moon 101, Moon Past, Moon Present, and Moon Future, which is a really interesting kind of concept, because normally a lot of these science books, it deals with only just the science of whatever, facet of science you're kind of examining. Whereas she basically takes history and some culture and science and kind of mixes it all together into this really cool, coherent whole. And I just really enjoyed that. The first section deals with a lot of the science aspects, what is the moon, what's it made out of, how did it get there, stuff like that. So a lot of kind of the science, the vital info, I guess you could say. But the next section, which was my favorite, Moon Past, obviously, because it's kind of dealing with sort of history and stuff. She basically makes mini lists of the ways the moon has basically influenced humans of the past, whether that's through art or literature, which was kind of interesting to look at. But my favorite ones were basically moon locations, so basically places that were basically the lunar versions of Stonehenge. For example, I thought those were just really cool to learn about. And also she had moon artifacts, and those included basically what are presumed to be basically I can't remember if it was Neolithic or Paleolithic, but either way, tens of thousands of year old lunar calendars that are marked on bones, which I think is super cool. It's basically, like I said, getting into prehistory and everything, but I thought that was really cool to kind of include stuff like that in a book on the moon. But anyways, like I said, it deals with not just the just the hard science of the moon, but pretty much every facet of the moon you can kind of think of, kind of blended together. Then we get into the Moon Present, which deals with the ways the moon affects the Earth or people in our day and age, whether that's through the tides or the space race, for example, just a generation or two ago, and things basically the commercialization of space. And that sort of leads us into the last one, which is Moon Future, dealing with basically the resources the moon has and sort of the ethics and dilemmas of whether if we once we get the capability, should we exploit basically the minerals on the moon. Basically, like I was saying, commercialization of space, just sort of in general, things like that. So like I said, it blends a lot of things together: history, culture, ethics, but it's all surrounded and centered by basically the concept of the moon, which is really cool. Like I said, I've never really read anything quite like that, I guess, but it's part of a broader series called The Sky at Night, which I believe is a British television series or something. So I'm not sure if there's other titles already in the series, but I'm definitely gonna go research that and see if there are other titles in the Sky at Night series. But like I was saying, this is definitely my favorite astronomy book of the year. I only have one kind of minor critique on the whole thing, which was only a page or two, which was when she was talking about, I believe, how the tidal forces of a closer moon in the distant past, when the moon was closer to the Earth and the tidal forces were stronger, may have helped basically create basically the spark of life on Earth to, create the first life forms. But she references like the Stanley Miller Harold Urey experiments. If you guys don't know what that is, that was sort of when they recreated primitive like Earth gases and simulated lightning with sparks and stuff and made a couple amino acids. That the thing is that experiment that's been very like questionable, like whether that really meant anything. First of all, the amino acids they made, and then second, probably the gases they used were probably not the ones that early Earth had. And also, like I said, the whole concept of making a couple amino acids, making life, it's a lot more complicated than that. But anyways, that's like a thing for another time. Anyways, like I said, that's just a minor critique, but overall, like I said, this was just a really good astronomy book, especially if you like the moon, and it's endearing because she calls herself a lunatic throughout the book, lunatic, self-avowed lunatic, but it comes across like really good. She obviously loves writing about the moon or talking about the moon and studying the moon as a professional astronomer, so it just comes across just really good in her writing style. So like I said, I really enjoyed it. I encourage you guys to read it if you guys want to learn more about the moon, or if you want to give some space science a try. If you don't know where to start, that's definitely, the moon is our closest companion, as the subtitle says, so it's just a good place to start. And I'm definitely giving The Book of the Moon by Maggie Aderin-Pocock 4.5 out of 5 stars. Just really enjoyable. My favorite astronomy book of the year so far. And always remember, whatever you guys end up reading, read victoriously.